How did an ancient city on the Italian peninsula conquer the known world? What was their secret? It wasn't just tactics or technology. Rome's greatest weapon was its ability to transform ordinary farmers, blacksmiths, and merchants into the most disciplined and lethal soldiers in history. But how did they do it? The process was brutal, systematic, and incredibly effective. And it started long before they ever saw a battlefield. In fact, some of the most shocking parts of their training had nothing to do with fighting at all. Stick with me, because we're about to uncover the brutal truths of how Rome forged its legendary war machine. The journey of a Roman legionary began with a choice, or sometimes a lack of one. For many, joining the army was a path to a better life, offering steady pay, a pension, and even Roman citizenship for non-citizens after their service. But getting in wasn't easy. The Romans were picky. They looked for men in their late teens or early 20s, strong and healthy. Recruiters would check their height, their eyesight, and even their teeth. They preferred men from rural areas, believing they were tougher and more accustomed to hardship than city dwellers. A potential recruit had to be at least 5 feet 8 inches tall, a standard that was surprisingly tall for the ancient world. Once you passed the physical inspection, you swore the sacramentum, sacred oath of loyalty to the emperor and to Rome. This oath was everything. Breaking it meant death. With that oath, your old life was over. You were no longer a farmer or a craftsman. You were Miles, a soldier of Rome, and your real ordeal was just about to begin. The first phase of training was known as the breaking in period. It was designed to do exactly that: break the individual and remold him into a part of a collective unit. For 4 grueling months, recruits were pushed to their absolute physical and mental limits. Forget what you've seen in movies. This was far more intense. The core of their physical conditioning was marching. It's not just a casual stroll, but relentless, forced marches. Recruits would march 20 miles in 5 hours, carrying a full pack that weighed over 60 pounds. This wasn't just armor and a sword. It included their shield, 2 heavy javelins called pila, a saw, a basket, a pickaxe, a chain, a sickle, and several days' worth of rations. Imagine carrying all that weight while marching at a blistering pace under the hot sun. This was a regular drill, designed to build endurance and discipline. Those who couldn't keep up were brutally punished by the centurions, the backbone of the Roman army. These veteran officers used a vine staff, the vetus, to beat discipline into any straggler. The message was clear: keep up or suffer. But marching was just the start. The physical training was relentless. Recruits were forced to run, jump, swim, and climb. Swimming was especially important, as armies often had to cross rivers in full gear. They practiced in all weather conditions, from scorching heat to freezing cold. This wasn't just about building muscle, it was about hardening the mind, teaching them to endure any hardship without complaint. The diet was simple and monotonous, mostly wheat or barley porridge, bread, and some sour wine. It was just enough fuel to keep them going. This whole process stripped away their civilian softness and forged a body capable of surviving the rigors of a campaign. It was a filter. The weak were weeded out early, either by quitting, injury, or simply being unable to meet the brutal standards. Only the toughest, most resilient men would make it to the next stage, learning how to fight. Once a recruit was physically hardened, he began weapons training. But here's a fascinating detail. They didn't train with real weapons. Instead, they used wooden swords and wicker shields that were twice the weight of the real equipment. The logic was brilliant. When they finally picked up their actual gladius and scutum, they felt light and easy to handle. It gave them a psychological edge, making them faster and more confident in a real fight. This training focused on ruthless efficiency, not flashy moves. Centurions taught them to thrust, not slash. Thrust was quicker, deadlier, and exposed less of the soldier's body to the enemy. They drilled endlessly against a wooden post, or palus, set in the ground. Over and over, they practiced the basic movements: advance, shield up, thrust, withdraw, repeat. It became muscle memory. There was no room for individual flair or heroism. The goal was to operate as a single, unstoppable unit. The training was a simulation of battles, chaos. They would practice formations, learning to move as a cohesive block. The famous testudo, or tortoise formation, where legionaries would overlap their shields to create a protective shell against missile fire, required incredible coordination and trust. They drilled until they could form it in seconds, without a single command being spoken. They also engaged in mock battles with each other, using blunted or wooden weapons. These weren't gentle spars. They were full contact and often resulted in injuries. It taught the recruits how to handle the fear and adrenaline of close-quarters combat, how to trust the man next to them, and most importantly, how to follow orders instantly, even in the midst of simulated chaos. The constant drilling, the repetitive motions, the focus on thrusting it all served one purpose: to turn a man into an efficient killing machine who acted on instinct, not emotion. Beyond physical and combat training, a Roman soldier had to be an engineer. This is something that often gets overlooked, but it was absolutely critical to Rome's success. A legion on the march was a mobile city. Every single night, no matter where they were, whether in friendly territory or deep in enemy lands, they built a fortified camp. And every soldier was expected to participate. This wasn't a simple campsite. It was a standardized, miniature fortress, complete with a deep ditch, a high earthen rampart, and a wooden palisade on top. The layout was always the same, so every soldier knew exactly where everything was, from the general's tent to the latrines. This monumental task was completed in a matter of hours, after a long day's march. The soldiers would use the tools they carried in their packs: the pickaxe, the shovel, the saw. This constant construction work kept them physically strong and reinforced the discipline of working together. It also meant the Roman army was always secure. It never slept in the open, vulnerable to a surprise attack. Their camp was their fortress, a piece of Rome they carried with them everywhere. This engineering skill extended to the battlefield as well. Roman legions were masters of siege warfare. They could build massive siege towers, powerful catapults, and ballistae, and construct ramps to scale enemy walls. They could divert rivers and build bridges. The famous siege of Masada, where Roman legions built a massive earthen ramp to conquer a supposedly impregnable fortress, is a testament to their engineering prowess. Every soldier was trained in these skills. He wasn't just a fighter, he was a builder, a sapper, an engineer. This versatility is what made the Roman army so adaptable and so incredibly difficult to defeat. They didn't just fight their enemies. They systematically dismantled their defenses through sheer engineering and relentless hard work. This combination of warrior and engineer in a single soldier was one of Rome's most powerful secrets. So, let's bring it all together. What truly made the Roman legionary a war machine? It was a combination of brutal physical conditioning that weeded out the weak, relentless weapons training that prioritized efficiency over flair, and engineering skills that turned every soldier into a builder. But underlying all of this was the most important element: discipline. The discipline to march 20 miles with a 60-pound pack. The discipline to hold the line in the face of a terrifying enemy charge. The discipline to dig a ditch and build a rampart after an exhausting day. This discipline was hammered into them from day one through constant drilling, harsh punishment, and the unwavering authority of the centurions. They were broken down as individuals and rebuilt as cogs in a perfectly synchronized machine. A Roman soldier fought not for personal glory but for his unit, for his eagle standard, or the oath he swore to Rome. It was this collective spirit, this unshakable discipline forged in the fires of an unimaginably brutal training regimen that allowed ordinary men to achieve extraordinary things. They conquered the world. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this dive into the life of a Roman soldier fascinating, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into the past. Let me know in the comments what other aspects of the Roman military you'd like to explore. Till next time, stay curious.